All right, so today let's dive into alchemy,
Oh, yeah.
which is
Fascinating topic.
yeah, and I think a lot of people when they hear alchemy, they immediately think of, you know,
Turning lead into gold.
yeah, turning lead into gold and like,
Magic potions.
yeah,
That got
exactly,
a cauldron.
like the stereotypical imagery.
Right, exactly.
So, what is alchemy really about? Because it's so much more than that.
Yeah, it really
That's just the surface level.
it is like this blend of science and philosophy and spirituality.
Okay.
It's really about transformation.
Not just the kind of transformation you see in like a chemistry lab.
Right, it's not just about like mixing chemicals together and hoping something cool happens.
Yeah.
They were really looking at transforming themselves,
Okay.
their understanding of the world.
Like a very holistic
Exactly.
kind of transformation.
Yeah.
Interesting. So,
Like the transformation of their very souls.
okay, so in this deep dive, we're going to get into all that.
Yeah.
We're going to explore, the history of alchemy.
We'll look at where it came from, how it developed.
Yeah, and like the major players involved.
Some of the big names.
Yeah, like who are some of the...
Paracelsus,
Yeah.
Isaac Newton,
Oh, wow.
Nicholas Flamel.
Yeah, Nicholas Flamel, who's like the famous alchemist from Harry Potter.
Exactly. And that's one of the things we'll explore
Yeah.
is how alchemy has really shaped our modern world.
Yeah,
From science to pop culture, it's everywhere.
that's amazing. And I think a lot of people don't realize that alchemy wasn't just like a European thing.
Right. It goes way back
Yeah, like way back.
to ancient Egypt and China.
Wow. Okay, so like thousands of years old.
At least.
So what was going on back then with alchemy, like in ancient Egypt?
So in ancient Egypt, alchemy was closely tied to the god Thoth,
Okay,
who was their god of wisdom and magic.
makes sense.
And they believed that Thoth held the secrets to life and death, and so they thought that alchemy could help them to understand those mysteries.
Oh, okay, so it was tied into their
It was all about their beliefs about the afterlife and the journey of the soul.
yeah.
They were very focused on preserving the body for the afterlife,
Yeah.
and they thought that alchemy played a role in that.
Okay, so that's ancient Egypt. And what about ancient China?
So in China, alchemy was very much connected to Taoist philosophy.
Okay.
And so they were very interested in finding balance and harmony in the universe.
Okay.
And they sought the elixir of life, which was a magical potion that would grant them immortality.
So it's interesting, both ancient Egypt and China, even though they were very different cultures, they both had this idea of...
Transcending death
Yeah.
and achieving some kind of higher level of existence.
Yeah, like a spiritual
Yeah.
connection to alchemy and like achieving
Yeah, they saw it as a path to enlightenment.
enlightenment.
Yeah. Understanding the true nature of reality.
Okay, so these ideas kind of continue on as alchemy kind of makes its way over to Europe, right?
Absolutely. And that takes us into the heart of medieval Europe.
Okay, so now we're talking, bubbling potions,
Yeah.
shadowy labs,
Right, exactly.
all that mysterious stuff.
That's when we start to see the image of the alchemists that we're more familiar with today.
Okay, and we can't talk about medieval alchemy without talking about the Philosopher's Stone, right? Like that's
That's the big one.
yeah, like that's what everybody
wants to know about it.
thinks of. Like,
Yeah.
what is this thing?
Right. So the Philosopher's Stone was believed to have the power to turn ordinary metals into gold.
Okay,
But it was much more than just a get-rich-quick scheme.
okay.
For European alchemists, it represented spiritual enlightenment and eternal life.
Oh,
It was like a key to unlock the secrets of the universe.
Oh, so it was a very like
We're
symbolic.
very symbolic kind of thing.
Yeah, it represented this ultimate goal of achieving wisdom and transcendence.
So why all the secrecy surrounding alchemy?
Well, there are a couple of reasons.
Okay.
I mean, partly it was about protecting your knowledge.
Okay.
They didn't want just anyone to be able to do this. Yeah, it's like their secret society kind of thing.
Right, but it also added to the mystique.
Okay.
They used all these strange symbols and coded language.
Right. Like, I know I've seen like,
Dragons and serpents
yeah,
and the Ouroboros.
the snake eating its tail.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
So the Ouroboros represented the cyclical nature of reality.
Huh?
This idea of death and rebirth
Okay.
and the interconnectedness of everything.
Interesting. So who were some of the most famous alchemists from this time period?
Well, there are a few that really stand out.
Okay.
One is Paracelsus.
Okay, I've heard that name before.
He was a real revolutionary thinker.
Okay.
He believed that alchemy should be used for healing people.
Oh, so not just about
not just about gold.
Yeah.
He actually pioneered the use of minerals and chemicals in medicine.
So he was like the first.
Yeah, in a way, he laid the groundwork for modern pharmacology.
Well, wow, that's incredible.
And then you have Isaac Newton.
Wait, Isaac Newton?
Yes, Isaac Newton, the guy who discovered gravity, was also obsessed with alchemy.
No way. I had no idea.
He actually wrote way more about alchemy than he did about physics or math.
Wow.
He believed that the Philosopher's Stone held the key to understanding the universe's deepest mysteries.
That's so interesting.
And then, of course, there's Nicholas Flamel.
Yeah, the guy from Harry Potter.
Right, so the legend goes that Flamel actually achieved immortality and insane wealth through his alchemy skills.
Real.
Now, whether that's true or not is debatable.
Yeah.
But his story has captured imaginations for centuries.
It's like a real-life fairy tale.
It is.
Like, that's why it's so perfect for Harry Potter.
Exact.
But, beyond the gold and the immortality, it seems like alchemy was really about something deeper.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, there's a more symbolic meaning.
It was a metaphor for personal growth and spiritual development.
So it wasn't just about changing lead into gold.
It was about changing yourself
Yeah.
into a better version of you.
Like refining yourself.
Exactly.
I like that.
They saw the process of refining metals into gold as a reflection of the process of refining one's character
Okay.
and achieving a higher level of consciousness.
So how did that more metaphorical side of alchemy influence later thinkers and movements?
That's a great question. And one of the most influential figures who picked up on those ideas was Carl Jung.
Wait, Carl Jung, the psychologist?
Yes, Carl Jung.
Wow.
He saw a direct connection between alchemy and the process of psychological development.
So he was looking at it from like a...
From a psychological perspective,
Okay.
he believed that alchemists were describing the journey of the human psyche towards wholeness
Oh, that's interesting.
without even realizing it.
So they were kind of like accidentally
In a way, yes.
psychologists.
They were using all this imagery and symbolism that actually reflected the inner workings of the mind.
Wow.
Jung believed that alchemists were describing the process of integrating different parts of the self,
Okay.
like the conscious and the unconscious mind.
Okay.
And he called this individuation. And he saw the Philosopher's Stone as a symbol of the self,
Okay.
which is the archetype of wholeness and integration.
So searching for the Philosopher's Stone was kind of like a quest for self-discovery,
Exactly.
psychological transformation.
It was about becoming whole,
Wow.
integrating all the different aspects of your personality.
And so how did Jung's ideas about alchemy influence modern thought?
Well, they had a huge impact on psychotherapy and personal growth movements.
Okay.
A lot of therapists today use alchemical metaphors and concepts to help their clients understand their own psychological journeys.
That's amazing.
So even though alchemy might seem like something out of a history book, its ideas about transformation and self-discovery are still alive and well today.
Yes, so we've talked about alchemy from ancient civilizations to how it influenced psychology.
Right.
But what about the scientific side of things?
Yeah, so how did alchemy, with all of its magic and mysticism, contribute to the rise of modern science?
So we're going to find out next.
Right after the break.
So stay tuned.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it. Alchemy kind of gave birth to modern science in a way.
Yeah, because when I think of alchemy, I think of, magic and mysticism.
Right. And that was definitely a big part of it.
Yeah.
But as the scientific revolution started to gain momentum, alchemy kind of lost its magical appeal.
Okay.
But here's the thing. A lot of those early scientists that we admire today,
Right.
like Robert Boyle, for example,
Yeah.
he's considered the father of modern chemistry.
Right.
He actually started out as an alchemist.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he wrote a very influential book called The Skeptical Chemist.
Okay.
And it was a major turning point in separating chemistry from its alchemical roots.
So it was like a bridge between alchemy and
Exactly.
a bridge between the mystical and the scientific.
Okay.
But even Boyle's work, you can see the influence of his alchemical training.
So even though alchemy itself wasn't exactly scientific in the way that we think of science today,
Right.
it still provided a foundation for later scientific discoveries. They were experimenting all the time. They were
Yeah.
driven to understand the properties of matter.
Yeah.
They developed all these techniques like distillation,
Oh.
sublimation,
Motivations.
which are still used in labs today.
Yeah, it is sublimation again.
So sublimation is when a solid transforms directly into a gas,
Okay.
skipping the liquid phase altogether.
Okay.
Think of like dry ice disappearing into thin air.
Okay. Yeah.
That's sublimation.
So they were just like tinkering and experimenting and...
And making all these accidental discoveries
Wow.
that would later form the basis of chemistry.
That's incredible.
And they discovered a lot of things. They isolated elements like phosphorus,
Okay.
antimony,
Yeah.
even though they didn't really know what they were at the time.
Yeah.
These accidental discoveries were really important.
It's wild to think that, like, if it wasn't for those alchemists and all their experiments, like, the course of scientific history could have been totally different.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what would have happened if they hadn't been so obsessed with those pursuits,
Yeah.
and their impact goes beyond just chemistry.
Okay.
Alchemy also influenced fields like physics medicine, even materials science.
Okay.
Their fingerprints are all over the scientific landscape.
Wow. So while alchemy might have had, some misguided ideas and maybe some fantastical pursuits,
Of course,
it still played like a really important role in the development of modern science.
a crucial stepping stone
Yeah.
on the path to modern science.
Yeah. And it kind of reminds me that sometimes, even pursuits that seem a little bit, crazy.
Yeah, a little off the beaten path.
Yeah, can still lead to major breakthroughs.
Absolutely. It speaks to the power of human curiosity
Yeah.
and that drive to explore the unknown.
It's like that drive is what connects alchemy
Yeah.
and
It's at the heart of both.
modern science.
Yeah.
So we've traced alchemy from ancient civilizations
Right through the Middle Ages.
to the beginnings of modern science.
Mm-hmm.
But where does it fit in today?
That's a good question.
Like, is it just a relic of the past, or does it still have some relevance?
Well, that's what we're going to explore next.
Okay, so stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, so we're back, and we've talked about, the history of alchemy.
From ancient times to the scientific revolution.
Yeah, like the whole shebang.
The whole 9 yards.
So the big question now is, where does alchemy fit in today's world?
Right? Is it just a historical curiosity, or is there something more to it?
Yeah, like, is it still relevant?
Well, it's definitely still around.
Okay.
You see it everywhere in popular culture.
Oh, yeah, like in movies?
Movies, books, video games,
Yeah.
Harry Potter, Full Metal Alchemist, The Da Vinci Code.
Right.
All of those draw inspiration from alchemical ideas.
And it's not just like a superficial thing.
Right? No, they're using alchemy as a metaphor
Go.
for personal transformation, for the struggles that we face in life, for the search for meaning.
So even though we don't have, guys in rows running around trying to turn lead into gold,
Right.
that quest for transformation is still something that we connect with.
Absolutely. I think that human desire to transform and improve is still very much alive.
Okay.
It's just manifested in different ways.
So what are some examples of this, like, modern day alchemy?
We'll take medicine, for example.
Okay.
Scientists are constantly searching for ways to extend human lifespan.
Yeah.
We're working on genetic research, anti-aging treatments, organ regeneration.
It's almost like a modern day quest for the elixir of life, right?
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
We haven't given up on that dream of immortality.
And what about in terms of finances?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Like, is there a modern equivalent to turning lead into gold?
Well, I think you could say that the drive to create wealth is still a major force in our society.
Okay.
Whether it's through traditional investments or cryptocurrencies or starting new businesses,
Yeah.
it's all about transforming something ordinary into something valuable.
So are you saying, like, we're all alchemists in a way?
I think we are.
Like, we're all trying to...
We're all striving to transform our circumstances,
Yeah.
to make things better, to achieve our goals.
And it's not just about material wealth either, right?
It goes beyond that.
Yeah.
Think about all the self-improvement movements that are so popular these days.
Okay.
Mindfulness, personal development, spiritual growth.
Right.
These are all forms of modern alchemy.
Okay. So instead of trying to transmute metals,
Right.
we're focused on transforming our thoughts and habits and beliefs
Right.
to make them more positive.
Yeah, to become better versions of ourselves.
So it's like that idea of turning lead into gold
Yeah.
has evolved into a metaphor for personal growth.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
about refining ourselves, overcoming our limitations, reaching our full potential.
It's a really powerful way to look at it. And it makes you realize that those alchemists, even though their methods were sometimes a little out there, they were onto something really profound.
They were.
They were looking for something more than just, riches and immortality.
They were searching for something deeper,
Yeah.
for meaning, for purpose, for transformation.
So maybe alchemy didn't fail.
Maybe it succeeded in ways that they never could have imagined.
Yeah, like it led to all these incredible discoveries.
And it continues to inspire us today.
Yeah, and it reminds us that sometimes the journey is just as important as the destination.
That's a good point.
Even if we don't achieve our original goals, we might discover something even more valuable along the way.
Absolutely.
So what do you think keeps people so fascinated by alchemy, even today?
Well, I think it's that sense of mystery.
Yeah.
The promise of hidden knowledge.
Yeah, like there's secrets to be unlocked,
Right. And maybe a hope that there's a shortcut to happiness or success.
or that there's more to life than we realize.
Exactly. That there's a deeper level of reality that we can tap into.
But I think at its core, it's that desire for transformation.
Yeah, that longing to change, to grow, to evolve.
And that's something that's as relevant today as it was centuries ago. So
Absolutely.
maybe we're all alchemists in our own way.
Constantly trying to shape our lives and the world around us.
Yeah, and maybe that's the true legacy of alchemy.
Not the Philosopher's Stone or the elixir of life.
But that enduring human spirit that drives us to transform and create meaning.
Well said.
So that brings us to the end of our deep dive into alchemy.
It's been a fascinating journey.
It has, and thanks to everyone for listening.
We hope you enjoyed it.
And remember, keep exploring, keep transforming, and keep diving deep